What's going on there, YouTube? It's another lovely day today. I got some spare time on my lunch. So, I know you guys are missing me already. And I said I was going to throttle back on making the videos and stuff, and that's true, I am. I'm going to slow it down a little bit, but I decided I'm not going to be doing that stuff at home. So, no more phone calls, no more emails, no more Facebook, no more research, unless my wife is not home or she's away. Then I'll do that. I'm going to keep that up. That's not going to stop. But anyways, I was thinking about some of the videos that's out there on the YouTube universe, and one of them was the Samuel Herd Fry My Eggs woman, 4 in the morning, and how women have smaller brains than men and they're not capable of thinking for themselves. And oh, y'all saw the videos. I mean, y'all, it's out there. It's an internet sensation, you can say, especially among us ex-JW apostates. But I wanted to share my governing body story with you guys today, right now during my lunch, while I still have time for lunch, unless I get a phone call or email or something. Anyways, alright, so I was never a Bethelite, but I have served there as a temporary worker on about 5 different occasions. And I would work in the telecom department. And I did, my first time working as a temporary worker was at Patterson. And we upgraded their cabling and their network there for the Gilead training area. So as a Jehovah's Witness, that was pretty darn exciting. I got to meet Brother Jerix personally, and that was a very neat project. The first time I got to work as a temp worker. Of course, I've got a brother that's in Brooklyn, Bethel, so I was hoping I was getting assigned there, but that didn't happen. But Patterson was pretty fun. I mean, it's a hectic schedule. I mean, oh, good Lord, I don't know how they do it. I do not know how they do it. You got to wake up at the crack of dawn, get ready, put a suit on, and then go eat and go to a 30-minute church service, basically, and then go to work after that. So I had to take my suit off and I had to change. And for lunchtime, most people have to put their suits back on. But since this was an important project, we were made an exception to the rule and we didn't have to change. And we had lunch catered to us at the Gilead training area. So that was pretty nice. I'm not going to go into any details about that. There was nothing funny or weird that happened with that trip. It was just get in, work, and get out. That was basically it. But I have worked at Wallkill 4 times as a temporary volunteer worker. And one particular morning, I think it was my 3rd trip there, really stood out. Something strange happened there. So I wake up at the crack of dawn. I hear the roosters crowing. It's time to get up. And so I beat my roommate to the shower. And I get ready. I put my suit on. I'm all buttoned up, ready to go. And we get to breakfast. Okay? So you're assigned a table. For those of you that aren't Jehovah's Witnesses, I'll explain to you. At Wallkill Printery, they probably have 4,000, I guess, maybe 5,000 volunteer workers that take care of any kind of assignment. You got cooks, you got chefs, you got laundry people, you got cleaning people, you got computer people, telephone people, you got mechanics, you got people that work on the printeries, you got mechanics, engineers, housekeepers, you name it, you got it. Barbers, stylists, shoe repair, dry cleaning, laundry, everything is taken care of for those volunteers. They don't have to worry about food, clothing, shelter, laundry. Well, they do have to worry about clothing, but their clothing is cleaned for them and pressed. So I mean, it's impressive. So all the workers, the 5,000, they meet in a humongous dining room. Just tables and tables of chairs, and you also have waiters that come and serve you your breakfast. Those waiters eat their breakfast after everyone's finished. So, and then you have people that actually cook it, so they eat theirs after the breakfast for everyone else is finished. So anyways, can you imagine just a big dining hall, about 5,000 people strong, all dressed up nice and neat in their ties and their dresses, and just like they would being at your door in the preaching work at Saturday at 9 a.m. or just like they would at going to their church services, to the kingdom halls. So the mornings usually go this way. You meet there in the morning and you get to socialize for a little bit if you wake up early enough. Who wants to wake up that early to go socialize at 7 a.m.? But you can, get some coffee and some water, because you're not allowed to drink anything else other than water or coffee. If you drink anything else besides that, such as an orange juice or a power drink that you may have got yourself, that's frowned upon big time. So you get some water or some coffee and you get to socialize, or if you get there at the last second, then you just have your seat at your assigned table and chair. And that's about 20 minutes of a sermon, a service. I don't know what else you would call it outside of Jehovah's Witnesses, but it's called morning worship. So they pull out their books. Everyone has their Bibles tucked in a little cubby under the table, and they have a book called Examining the Scriptures Daily. And so one person is the moderator, the conductor of it, and he'll give maybe about a 10-minute sermon on the text, the scriptural text that's chosen for that day. And then there'll be 4 other Bethelites that'll give their comments about something relating to that text. And they give about no more than a 5-minute comment, a 5-minute sermon. And then after that, a prayer is said for breakfast. And then everyone eats breakfast. Okay, so being the new guy there, and I'm only going to be there for a week, I don't know about you guys, but me, I'm a big breakfast guy. I got to have some breakfast, because if I don't, I will not be a happy camper come 9 or 10 a.m. But the rule of thumb is, they got these weird dining room hall undisclosed rules, is you have these plates and bowls of food, and there's a person at the head of the table, and he is responsible for making sure everything is passed around to everyone. There's probably about 8 people per table, or 10 people per table. 4 on the sides, and then 1 at the head and 1 at the foot. And so the waiters, they'll come and they'll bring the plates of food and they'll just set them on the table, and then The head of the table decides if it's passed to the left or to the right. So whatever he chooses that day, you pass it this way or you pass it that way. So when he gets a plate of food, he'll get it, put some on his plate, and then he'll pass it, and then he'll tell everyone, pass it to the left, let's just say, for that day. So if there's a plate of something that's in front of you, either you choose to pick some food from it and then pass it to the left, and then you get from the person next to you, and so on and so forth. And so you're supposed to take a modest amount on the first go around, so that way everyone can at least get a good portion of that. And then once the plate has been passed around to everyone, then you're free. You can just ask someone, hey, can you pass the eggs? Can you pass the biscuits? Can you pass the gravy? Can I please have the bananas? You know, or whatever, the oatmeal, whatever it was for that morning, or lunch. Okay, so for this morning, we had a typical American breakfast. We had scrambled eggs. There were biscuits and gravy and oatmeal and bananas, and they had bacon. So it just seemed like everyone was in a good mood this morning. It was a good morning, and I was ready to chow down. This was on a Thursday, I believe. So I had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to kind of get acclimated, to get into the routine. And so Thursday, I'm good to go. I know how the routine goes down again, and I'm settling in the environment. So I'm ready to throw down on some breakfast. And so bacon's passed around once, I get a piece. Bacon's passed around twice, I get another piece. And so I'm not really paying attention to what everyone else is eating because I'm starving. And so I look up and I'm looking around for the bacon, and it's all gone. And so when a food item is finished, the head of the table just puts that plate at the corner of his table, and when the servers pass by, they'll know what plate it is that needs to be refilled. And so he puts the bacon plate at the corner of his table, and the waiter comes by and he says, oh, we're out of bacon. And I'm like, oh man, you gotta be kidding me. Dude, I was ready to throw down on a couple more pieces of bacon. And I was like, I was so irritated. So anyways, we get done eating, and then it's time to be dismissed. And there is a TV, there's TVs all over this dining room for this morning worship. So I'm sorry, I forgot to explain that in the beginning. So they have 3 different locations in New York. One is in Brooklyn, one is in Wallkill, one is in Patterson. And so a broadcast can be from Wallkill, and it can be broadcast to the other sites there in the United States, Patterson and Wallkill, and I think Canada also. And so they have TVs all over the place, so that way everyone can just sit there and pay attention and go along with their Bibles and so on and so forth. So when the prayer is said for breakfast, the TVs black out. It's time to eat. You know, we don't play around. And so when the TV comes back on, that means it's time for prayer and to be dismissed for the morning. And so as soon as the TV comes on in unanimous robot fortune, everyone, 5,000 people stand up, and they're so cramped that you know you don't have space to move around your chair, so you're like, you know, what do I do? And so anyways, you stand up, and you slide your chair under your table, and it's time to say a prayer and be dismissed. And so this morning, Anthony Morris III was conducting the morning worship. So it was his time to dismiss everyone with prayer. So he says, let's say a prayer of thanks to Jehovah and to get our day started. So everyone bows their heads, and I kind of got my hands on my chair in front of me, and he starts to pray. And the first thing he starts to pray about, and he says, this is not word for word, but this is what I remember him saying. Jehovah, we thank you very much for this day, and we thank you for this real bacon. And at this point, I do the unforgivable Jehovah Witness sin. I open my eyes, and I start looking around. I'm like, what in the world is going on here? And so he's continues praying, and I just continue looking around. I kind of put my head down and, looking out the corner of my eyes. Jehovah, we want to thank you for this this real bacon here. We know that it takes extra time for the cooks to make it, so they have to get up a little bit earlier and start this bacon to get cooking early. And I'm sure we all appreciate the real stuff here. So, Jehovah, we want to give you thanks for this delicious bacon. And then he continues on with whatever. And I am just, what did he just pray for delicious bacon? Huh. Oh, I gotta look down. He says, Amen. And I look up, and 5,000 people just bust out laughing. And I was like, what did this just happen? And I was just really confused. I was like, okay, first off, he said a prayer like my kids do, thanking for, Jehovah God for lollipops or going to the park or whatever. And so I was just kind of stunned. What in the world just happened here? So I called my brother that's in Brooklyn, because I know he saw it as well. And I said, hey, what's going on? And he said, what are you talking about? And I said, well, didn't you hear the prayer this morning? And he just kind of chuckles and said, yeah, Brother Morris, man, he's a down-to-earth kind of guy, and that's just how he is when he prays. And I said, okay, all right. And I said, did everyone start laughing when he said amen? And he said, yeah, some people started laughing and stuff. And I said, well, over here at Wallkill, everyone started laughing. And so we basically had to go to work, so we had to stop talking. And so we start work, and that's the buzz, that's the talk. Everyone's talking about bacon. Brother Morris praying about bacon. Oh, this brother, man, he is just so sincere and honest. And so I was wondering, why is he praying about bacon and the real stuff, having the real stuff? Well, it turns out, after the gossip mill starts, they had been serving turkey bacon for the past, I think, 2 months, 3 months, something like that. And there was always leftovers. The old-timers didn't like turkey bacon. The old-timers wanted the real bacon. So that day, that morning that I was there, was the first time they had real bacon in about 3 months. Hence, the prayer for the real bacon. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Have a good day, everyone.